Hello everyone. In this module, we'll see that what percentage of the revenue for various size companies actually gets spent on information technology, and we're talking about commercial spending here, and then how much productivity losses actually a lot of these companies incur because employees are on internet or using social media, and then globally how big this IT market is, and it's a how much of a repetitive expense it is because companies are constantly coming up with newer and better versions of hardware, and then more secure versions or better versions of their software, and then cybersecurity, and then many other things, and much more other nuisance. So let's look into these numbers. So if you type on Google, you can find various sources. So let's go down. So I found this article in TechVera that smaller size companies, they tend to spend a bigger percentage of their revenue on IT. Mid-size companies around 4%, larger around 3%, and then industry-wide average in 2013 was around 5.2% of their revenue. And another survey found that in 2017 there was a 5% increase in IT budgets. In 2016 there was a much bigger increase, 8%. So let's go keep going. So this article talks about that the global GDP all over the world is 70 trillion, and around 3.5 trillion gets spent. 5% of the economic activity is spent on IT. Some companies, of course, they have a much bigger IT budget, like retail, financial services, oil industry, much smaller. So it varies. If you own a cryptocurrency, of course, your IT budget is going to be much high, much more electric, city consumption also. This is again, my favorite slide, which shows how our national debt, and it talks about all workforce productivity, median, a lot of information. Um, Another article I found on NBC News that time wasted on Facebook could be costing us trillions in lost productivity. Um, they said the social media sites, they are closing in on $3.5 trillion in lost productivity till now. And then it talks about, how many active users. For example, Facebook has 1.6 billion there, which equals to $200 valuation per user. Okay, Facebook users, they spend around 10.5 billion minutes per day on the platform, excluding mobile platform. That's according to 2012 finding, but now it could be a lot more. And Facebook not only owns Facebook, they have many other platforms, Instagram, WhatsApp, all these. Um, okay, 20 minutes a day is a lot of time, well more than a year over the course. And this is not just, the time spent, because think about it, if someone is spending time on social media, that means at that time he's not doing other, his regular job or chores at home. That person could be exercising, cooking his food, helping kids with homework, or kids might be doing some physical activity, volunteer work, some group activities where they're interacting, and which in turn will result to less mental health issues or many other issues our society is facing, in terms of sickness, illness, um, weight gain, many other benefits of doing actually physical activities than versus sitting on a computer. I see. So then these companies, how they collect your data and how the data, means a lot of these things are actually, they're very complicated for a layman to understand, that how the data gets collected and marketed. And you can, these lot of these type of articles you could find, especially during the last election time, where companies like Cambridge Analytica, how they collected data of Facebook users and then targeted them with specific ads. So plenty of material on internet you can read. Um, then these articles about hearing of Facebook CEO, how basically companies even like Apple, they were slowing down the older versions of iPhones so they could sell them better and newer version, expensive version. I mean, and you can see articles like Apple is no longer actually a phone only manufacturing company, it's a subscription company. And same thing with these softwares, programs. Once you update, your previous version of Windows to newer version of Windows, now you need better, expensive hardware. Your older video cards may not work. So it's all very well planned. Okay, and then the data collection, you can again read a lot more about that online. So these are the companies which, they employ a lot of these people on OPTs and work permits, and you can see it. Majority of this work, it's not very, like you can say, meaningful or productive for the society. It's more entertaining and actually has many negative aspects to it. Cell phones cost employers 5 hours of productivity per week, which again could be a lot higher actually. How you can recoup the productivity lost. I mean, you can read so much information online these days about uh, productivity loss, and then mental health issues, all that, especially with all the school shootings. uh, these type of articles very easy to find. And then also other privacy issues you can find, that how government is collecting data from the software giants. Okay. Then going back to the same issue, that when these companies might be hiring people on work permits or OPTs, but a lot of the burden again gets pushed to the society, because now universities, they know this trend. They will definitely try to bring more foreign students because they can charge them more. Then it's harder for US citizen or domestic students, and then the burden basically gets passed on to the society if these employees or students, they bring their children here, they get or married here, and or give they or their spouses, they give birth to uh, children here. Children will by birth become US citizens, and then eventually I think when they get 21 or 18-year old, then they can sponsor their parents. So it's maybe some gain for these companies, but very big burden passed on to the society. So now we'll stop here and go to the next module.